Welcome to another segment of Westfield 360. This is Councilwoman Neylan. I'm here with Milt, the Executive Director of the Youth and Family Counseling Service, located here in Westfield on Prospect Street. Thank you, Milt, for meeting with me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I know a little bit about your organization, and I think it's a fantastic one. I'm hoping you'll share some of the information about it with our people who are watching at home. Can you tell us a little bit about the Youth and Family Counseling Service, the inception? When did it begin?
Yes, it began in 1918. We just celebrated our 90th year anniversary. I came here in 1964. We originally were not a youth and family counseling agency. We were an Episcopalian agency, part of the diocese. When you came into the building, which was across the street where the Bank of America is, we had Bibles, crosses, and so forth. It was basically a religious-oriented agency.
So when you say a religious-oriented agency, does that mean that it was for religious instruction, or was it a religious-based agency, but also serving a similar mission, which is to help people? And I'd like you to tell the mission to the people.
The latter. It was not one in which people came here to have their souls saved. They were here to deal with emotional difficulties in family and individuals.
And was there a small group of people who began this? Do you know?
It was, yes, it was from the St. Paul's Church here in town, the Episcopal Church. They sponsored it at the very beginning. And we served all of New Jersey, actually.
Well, that's what I was going to. Now, it's always been located then in Westfield?
Absolutely,
since
yes.
1918?
1918,
That's
right.
very interesting. It's very progressive thinking, don't you think?
I think so. And again, because we were a Christian agency, we served the entire state of New Jersey. In 1961, the agency broke with the church, per se, in terms of the funding. We became non-sectarian, and it became Youth and Family Counseling Service.
Okay. And what areas do you serve now?
When I became the director, it was in 1964. We took over 8 towns. Our agency served 8 towns: Berkeley Heights, Clark, Cranford, Goward, Mountainside, Rahway, Scotch Plains, and Westfield, although 60% of our clientele are from Westfield. Are
there any other similar services in the area that you coordinate with? Not
here, but there are 3 other family agencies that serve the remainder of the county.
Now, over the years, this has been quite a number. 1918, again, that's remarkable to me that this agency has had such longevity. Have you seen or read about the mission changing? Is there a mission statement?
Yes, the mission basically is to help troubled individuals and families function more comfortably and fulfill their capabilities. This continues to be the situation. However, there's been a change in the individuals that we're seeing. We're seeing much younger children who seem to be affected by family difficulties or environmental difficulties. And a lot of senior citizens, we're seeing more and more senior citizens who feel very, very alone, alienated, very confused, and as a result, unfortunately, abuse their drugs, legal drugs, because they just can't remember when to take them and if they've taken them.
That's interesting. So does that affect, I never would have thought of that, who's bringing those people, since they can't orient themselves, basically, it seems like you're saying, because they're forgetting the drugs they're taking, elderly people. How do they know to get to this service?
Either caretaker or an adult child, which is another problem because they're very much involved with their adult children. They argue about who's doing what with whom, how to raise grandchildren, a different set of values, and so that's an additional problem that's created.
And have you noticed or seen the values change over the years, basic family values? How have you seen them evolve?
Well, the first thing is the family definition has changed. It's no longer a mother and father and children. Now it encompasses anybody who's living together. This could be an intact family, a mother and father. This could be a divorced single parent. This could be step-parents living together. And a great deal, and the increases with people living together who are not married. Gay couples, it's much more open, the definition.
Do you see have you seen, since your tenure here, since you began, have you seen a lot of difference in who walks through your door, the different types of families that have grown?
We're seeing more crisis individuals, people who on weekends are having serious trouble with a child.
Really?
Drugs, runaway, sexual involvement at a very young age.
Now, are you affiliated with any of the local hospitals?
No, no, but we do work with Overlook Hospital.
What is your relationship?
Room. A referral source, we'll have them go to the emergency room if need be. For the past 25 years, we've had a psychiatrist on our staff, and a psychiatrist is an MD who can prescribe medications, psychotropic medications.
Okay.
In recent times, we have discontinued that only because many of the psychiatrists left to enlarge in their own private practice.
Okay.
So we work with local psychiatrists or psychiatrists through insurance companies.
Well, that's a good segue into my next question. Tell us about, well, first about yourself, and then I'd like to know about the staff here, who you have, who works, and what the various responsibilities are. And you mentioned the weekend, so I want to talk about that too. Do you have someone here all the time? So let me just first begin with you, Milt. I know you mentioned, but you're here since
1964.
64. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I started when I was 5.5 years old. I tell that to everybody. What am I going to do?
Well, you look great.
Actually, thank you. I was the 27th person I interviewed. I was not the person they accepted. The person they accepted was from Virginia, I was told. And
really?
He came up, and I think he died on the way or
oh, gosh.
decided not to come. But they took a chance on me. I was very young then, and it really worked out very well.
Well, it must have worked out very well.
We had a place, again, where the Bank of America is, and then we moved for 2 years to 24 Prospect Street.
Okay.
That's that little street between North Avenue and East Broad Street. We had no furniture, we had no air conditioning, we had no soundproofing. It really was, those were very difficult days. And then 2 years later, Grace Reed, who was a board member from Mountainside, who actually hired me, and I was a great person, she came upon this house, and then we bought the house, which we own now, and converted it into interviewing rooms.
Well, it is lovely. It's an old Victorian, would you say?
Oh, it's Victorian, absolutely.
It's a beautiful, beautiful.
And I fought with board members. They wanted to change the mahogany, the wood and everything, and I kept saying no.
So this really has your stamp on it, this building.
If you look around, it's me all over the place.
Okay.
The name Faith is all over there.
Well, that's an interesting, I always wanted to ask you about that, your last name being Faith. Does that influence, has that influenced what you were going to do in your life?
No, but a lot of people think I changed it or that it's a religious name or, I always say, yeah, it originally was called Hope, and my daughter's name is Charity. All of these are lies, but it's good for a laugh.
Yeah, I need some sense of humor in this, I imagine.
The reason I like it here, and the reason I really stayed, is I don't particularly like administration and fundraising. I do it because that's what supervision, that's what an administrator does. But I do a lot of, unlike a lot of directors, I do a lot of clinical work. I love to see patients.
So tell us the scope, please, of your role, and then tell us what your typical day is like.
It's administrative. It has to do with cases coming in and out, determining who's going to see whom, dealing with insurance companies, raising money, dealing with board members. God bless them, you're one of them, and the public. That's one part of it, but the reason I really stayed on is I'm a ham at heart, so which really means I do a lot of other things that a lot of directors don't do. Unless somebody can dispute this, I write the longest running column in the state of New Jersey. It's called Hung Up. It's syndicated in the Westfield Leader and in the Fanwood, the Scotch Plains Times. It's a Dear Abby kind of column, and it's really done me very well. For years, I've been on the next to the editorial page, and the exposure is great. And then about several months ago, I got a call from somebody. They said, "We're sorry to read that Mr. Faith died." His pictures in the paper and so forth. Well, it turned out my column started appearing on the obituary page.
Oh my goodness!
And so they thought I passed away. The reason is, I love it because everybody reads the obituary page. Everybody reads who's dying and who's alive.
Now, with your background, why do people read the obituary page? What do you think?
They want to. Well, a lot of people in town who lived here for a lifetime want to know if their peers have died.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
that's
true.
really.
That's really okay. I thought there was some, more psychological reason that